Okay, so I've ticked off a sunrise at Sorrento. The next thing I want to tick off my list is breakfast at a local market, and I think there's one about 5 or 10 Ks in that direction. After that, the final thing I want to tick off while I'm here at Phan Rang is a visit to the Cham temple complex, but that's back towards the train station, so it might be a few fun and games trying to find that, so I expect to get lost. Okay, let's do it before it gets too hot. The views this morning just north of Phan Rang prove that Vietnam really is worth its salt. Literally. These are salt fields that produce much of Vietnam's salt. In fact, by 2030, the government hopes these fields will be the country's biggest producer. The area has a centuries-old tradition of producing salt due to the favourable conditions here. The farmers still use the traditional method of pumping seawater straight into the fields. Then they wait a week for the water to evaporate before beginning the back-breaking work of shoveling it up and processing it, just so I can sprinkle some on my fish and chips at the pub. Anyone seen Phan Rang? I'm on a bridge. I told you it was going to be a bit of a wild goose chase. You never know where you're going to end up. I'm on a bridge here and I've clearly gone the wrong way. The signs ran out to Phan Rang, so I had to ask a nice old chap where to go, and he sent me in the right direction to a certain extent, but I got myself lost after that, so I'm going to have to keep looking. I'm pretty keen for a coffee and something to eat. I've been on the road for about an hour now, so things are getting a bit desperate. With my bearings back, I'm headed to Phan Rang Central Market and some bun tiu straight out of the oil. In an alley adjacent to the market, I'm hoping to find a tasty breakfast. But what I'm also about to find are some of the cheekiest market ladies I've ever come across. So you've got pork, tofu, shrimp, mackerel, thịt kho, and muk. So, mop cham hai ngàn for one duck. So that's like $6 for one duck. Okay, the market ladies are just going crazy. There's a sideshow in town, and they're okay. I've got something over here. Bun can is a common dish that can be found up and down the southern coastline of Vietnam, with each town and city having their own twist to this popular breaky staple. The only question is, what's going to be the twist to this little culinary adventure? Let's try. So I'm just going to sit here and eat with my tea. With nuk mam, and so yeah, what you do is you dunk this into the bowl of soup, and the soup's really tasty. Woo! It's hot. I always eat this too quickly. But it's really good. I've never had this version before. I've had like, it's very similar to bun cot Cambodia, similar, but different. So there we go. Look at that. She's doing a great job with the camera. And yeah, they're these little rice cake things, I suppose you would say in English, with lots of onion on top. Camera lady, over here. And we dunk that in there like that. I can taste the fish sauce. Look, Mum. It's just all over me now. This was worth the drive. It's worth the drive. Oh, okay. She's done a different one here. Okay, woo. This one's a little bit different. It looks like she's got a little bit of egg. Is this chung ga? Chung?
Trứng gà,
Yeah.
trứng.
So, chunga she's put on that one. That's a little bit different. This might be the deluxe one. Okay, here we go.
Chấm vô, nóng. Nóng. Chấm vô, bỏ vô, chấm vô, nóng lắm. Thở ơi. Thở lên.
And as if I didn't feel like a sideshow already, I was introduced to somebody's friend, checking in to see if there was in fact a chubby middle-aged foreigner pigging out at Miss Hung's bun cum stall.
Hey, they're very friendly in Phan Rang. 10,000. Thank you, Miss Hung. So there you go, 10,000 dom for that breakfast there. One plate, amazing. So you can find Miss Hung about 50 metres off the main street, off the main drag, at the front of the market, Phan Rang Market. Now she's left me here with the stall. There she goes. Bye-bye. Okay, that was pretty intense. Those market ladies know how to get you in. But I managed to check off a second thing on my list to do today, and that was to find some pretty awesome breakfast at the local market at Jo Phan Rang. And I managed to find 3, 2 of which I hadn't eaten before, so that's really cool. Make sure you check it out if you ever come to Phan Rang. Now I'm just going to sit back and have a coffee and take a break from all that commotion, and then I'm going to go on another probably wild goose chase to try and find the Cham temple just outside of town.
No getting lost this time, as Po Klong Garai is just down the street, left, and a few more clicks out of town. But through these gates, like most of this trip, I have absolutely no idea what awaits me.
Okay, so I've made it to the Po Klong Garai towers. There are 3 of them, and they're remnants of the Champa civilization that ruled this part of Vietnam for quite a long time, I believe, around 1,500 years or so, maybe even 2,000 years. I could be wrong, okay, disclaimer. I don't know a lot about the Champa civilization, but I'm endeavouring to learn more, and I've started to read up and research about the Cham people. But essentially, they ruled this part of Vietnam, sort of the central part from, I think Nguyen Thai was a capital. That's one of the jets that's flying overhead regularly, pretty much around the clock here, because the East Sea, the South China Sea is nearby, and I think they're patrolling the islands out there at the moment, so I think there's an airbase just here, or they could be coming from Cam Ranh. But anyway, so it's great to be here. I've started reading up a little bit about the Champa civilization, and it's fascinating, and it was sort of from the, as I said, Nguyen Thai down to as far as around about Phan Thiet, I believe. So so I'm far from an expert on this topic, but as I said, I'm endeavouring to find out more, and I'm quite excited about coming here to check this out today. So 20,000 dong just to enter, $1. And they say the entrance fee goes towards the restoration of these 3 towers, but I can't help, without even looking at it first, I can't help but thinking that it's too cheap, $1 just to see something like this that is around about, according to this pamphlet here, around about 500 years, older than that, around about, let me do my maths, 900 years old. They believe that these were built towards the end of the 13th century. So, we're getting up there almost 1,000 years ago. Is that right? Can that be right? Wow. Okay, I need to read up more on this, but first let's go and check it out. Okay, so this looks like where the walk really begins. It looks quite steep. I think I can do it though. But there's the cicadas going now, so you can get an idea of how hot this place is at the moment. And it's only about 10 o'clock in the morning. And here we go.
Po Klong Garai is a Hindu Cham religious complex, which was built in honour of Po Klong Garai himself, who ruled Panduranga, now known as Phan Rang and once a capital of the Cham Empire, almost 900 years ago. There are 3 towers here, all made of red brick, consisting of gravel quarried from the area and carried up the hill that looks over Phan Rang in an easterly direction towards the sea. As I pass through the main gate, I can now see the relief of the Hindu god Shiva above the front portal into the main tower. It's remarkably well preserved and leaves me with no doubt as to the belief system that the builders of this beautiful tower once adhered to. These days, the majority of the Cham population, of which there are said to be around 200,000 living in Vietnam, follow Islam. And just in case I needed a reminder of just how old this complex is, the vertical stone at the entrance to the portal is inscribed with an ancient Chamic script.
So I managed to get to this beautiful complex here up on the hill overlooking Phan Rang and out towards the ocean. And it's good to be here when there aren't too many tourists either. So there are a handful here and there are a couple getting their wedding photos done as well, which is a nice touch. I'm assuming that they are Cham people, and it's a beautiful spot to have your wedding photos taken. As for the building itself, there's not much left, and as is the case up and down the Central Coast, there aren't too many reminders of the Champa civilization, but this is pretty good considering that it's almost 1,000 years old. So it's just a little bit hard to get a true idea of the culture and of the civilization that was here, as mostly because there just aren't really many remnants of the civilization left, including in the food, which I'm quite surprised about. Phan Rang doesn't seem to have, well, from my little experience so far, doesn't seem to have food that is a Cham food as such. I could be wrong. I need to do more research about the history and the culture and the food of the place, but I'll definitely be back. It's worth a trip here. It's $1, like I said earlier. It should be a little bit more, I think, so that the place can be better preserved, but still, it's in pretty good nick, and I recommend you come and check it out.